Okay, so what if you had your own personal genius on call 24/7, ready to explain literally anything in a way that just clicks? Well, today we're diving into a technology that aims to do exactly that. It's called Call Annie, and honestly, it could completely change the way we learn. You've been there, right? We all have. You're staring at some tricky homework problem, or maybe trying to wrap your head around a big, complex idea, and you just wish you could tap someone on the shoulder and say, "Hey, can you explain this to me like I'm 5?" Well, that exact feeling, that moment of frustration, that's the problem this new kind of AI is designed to solve. So, what is this magic bullet for our wish for personal expert? Well, let's meet Annie. Time to break down what this thing actually is.
At its heart, Call Annie is an AI built for one main reason: to be an absolutely world-class explainer. The real key here is that it's designed to understand how you talk, your normal, everyday language. You don't need special commands or keywords. And in return, it gives you answers that are clear, simple, and actually easy to understand. No jargon, no fluff, just understanding.
A really good way to picture this is to imagine two experts mashed into one. First, you've got a super librarian who's basically read every book on the planet. Then, you've got a master translator who can take the most complicated ideas and put them into simple, clear words. Annie does both. It finds all the right info, and then it makes that info make sense, specifically for you. And it all lives right in your pocket.
So that's what it is. But how does it work? What's actually going on under the hood? All right, let's pull back the curtain and look at the simple four-step process that fuels every single answer Annie provides.
The whole process looks pretty straightforward, but the magic is in the details. It all kicks off with you just asking a question however you want. Now, step 2, decipher. This is so crucial. This is where the AI isn't just looking for keywords, it's trying to understand the intent behind your question. What do you really want to know? Then, boom, it gathers all the relevant data from countless sources in a split second. But that final step, explain, that's where it all comes together. It doesn't just copy and paste facts, it synthesizes them, building a brand new, coherent answer from scratch, tailored just for you. Okay, so that's the theory, but what does this actually look like in real life? Let's talk about a few ways a tool like this could actually become part of your day-to-day, and we'll start with the most obvious place, score. Just imagine it's late at night. You're stuck on a biology concept, like, say, mitosis, and the textbook is just not helping. Instead of getting totally frustrated, you could just ask Annie to explain it using a simple analogy. All of a sudden, you've got this patient, personal tutor on call whenever you need it. But it's not just about getting the facts straight. What if you need a really unique idea for a project on the Roman Empire? You could actually brainstorm with Annie, asking it for things like, what are some lesser known but super important events? It totally shifts from being just a fact checker to being a real partner in your creative process. Now, this might be my favorite use case. You're just out there, living your life, you see a rainbow, and you suddenly wonder about the specific physics behind it. You can just pull out your phone and ask. In that moment, AI becomes an engine for your curiosity, giving you those instant, satisfying answers that just make the world a little more interesting. Of course, with any technology this powerful, we have to look at the whole picture. It's not enough to get excited about the good stuff. We have to be really clear-eyed about the potential downsides, too. So let's get into that more balanced view. It really boils down to this balance, right? The benefits are amazing, making knowledge available to everyone, offering instant support, but the challenges are just as real, and they mean we have to be smart about how we use these tools. We've got to remember that AI can sometimes be confidently wrong. It can state something inaccurate like it's a fact. Then there's the risk of leaning on it too much, where maybe we stop wrestling with tough ideas ourselves because the easy answer is right there. And of course, we always have to ask those tough questions about our data and privacy. It's a tool, and like any powerful tool, its impact, good or bad, really depends on how we use it. So let's bring this all home. What's the big picture here? Why does a tool like ANN really matter? And what does it tell us about where learning and knowledge are headed? This quote, this right here, gets to the absolute core of it. The ultimate promise of a tool like Annie isn't to replace our thinking, it's to supercharge it. By doing the heavy lifting of finding and simplifying information, it frees our brains up to do what we humans do best. Think critically, connect ideas in new ways, and ultimately ask bigger, better, and more interesting questions. And that leaves us with one last thing to chew on. As these AI systems become more and more like seamless conversational partners, the focus really starts to shift. It's not just about the tech anymore, it's about us. What does this all mean for education, for our jobs, for the very nature of human curiosity? What conversations do we all need to start having right now?